Content Catchup.
Here we go. Friends and enemies. And real enemies, because we've got a guest today, Barks. We've got Edwin, a.k.a. the Social Sandwich, jumping back on. God only knows why. Why are you here again, Edwin?
Well, you've begged me to come back on every week. And
so true.
It was, I just thought it'll make it easier than having to get messages every week begging me to come on the show. And if I'm not on the show, you just talk about me anyway. So I was like, you know what? I'll come and defend myself.
We actually do. I feel like so often we mention something and we're like, oh, I read a tweet somewhere. Oh, actually, and it always ends up being Edwin.
Yeah, it's always that the DiCaprio meme where he's like pointing at the screen when I'm listening to this podcast. And then it's like, that's me. That's me. That's
what's a meme? A meme's cool.
Guy. How are you though? We understand that you may or may not be a bit dusty today, which we love. We love here at the Content Catchup. It's normally me.
Yeah, well, I mean, who records a podcast on a Sunday morning? Like, it's just
professionals.
Professionals. How late were you again today?
2 minutes to do my hair.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
So I'm
alright. Tyson is here. He wants to join on the show. Yeah, I'm alright. Can't complain. I probably will, but a little bit dusty. Not like 7 out of 10, maybe like a 3 or a 4. So like manageable levels of a hangover.
That's not
Jules,
bad.
You
at
sound dusty too.
No, I did go out for a few beers last night, but I've actually woken up with a horrible cold, and I'm probably gonna have to sneeze like 1,000,000 times in this.
That's
this
fucking
podcast.
Disgusting, and that's not what our listeners deserve.
Well, it'll be a great show.
Well, while we were bragging about drinking, I had 2 drinks at dinner last night.
Oh, that's great. What,
is that
water?
The story?
Yeah, that's it.
Terrible story.
Jeez, big night.
Well, I mean, we all talk about our nights, so I would like to know. Sorry, Jules, you were saying? I think I cut you off.
It's not new. Before, when I sneezed, this whole thing of fucking phlegm just came out of my hand.
Can you not?
That's why
I hate this shit. You're too open. Hey, can I get us back on track before we get into a bit of content discussion? So last week, I'm sure you would have known, Edwin, we talked about Grimesy, Ben Grimes. That should ring a bell as a freelancer that, Jules shouted out. So I actually got his permission to read this. So Casey, I think Ben reached out to our good friend Casey that we all know and love. I'm just going to read out his response. So basically, I think Ben connected with Casey off the back of our show and sort of just said, like, nice to meet you, whatever. And then Casey said to Ben that, oh, you were featured on the Content Catch-Up. And then I've got a screenshot of this and it's like, oh, amazing. Thank you. What's the Content Catch-Up? Said Ben, which obviously we don't expect him to know. But anyway, so Casey linked Ben the show. And then the next message is clearly after Ben has listened to the show, what we shouted him out about. And he's like, that's made me so emotional. Oh my God, that's so lovely. I quit my full-time job 2 weeks ago for this casual role as a videographer to chase my dreams. And I had been doing all my work for free on the side for my full-time job since November. It's all happened so quickly for me, and that's actually really heartwarming to see them shout me out. Love heart emoji.
Oh,
how nice is that?
Isn't that nice?
That's very.
Well, I thought it was lovely.
What did you expect us?
Isn't
that
nice?
Cool?
Well, isn't that cool that this is what we sort of started this type of thing to meet people in the industry? And I thought that was a really nice moment. You've both given me shit all.
No, it is nice.
Fuck you.
I just thought that was funny to get your reaction. But no, it is nice. And I think like this is why we're also aiming to shout out Australian content creators, because it's shit like that. You don't realize how many people are putting their lives on the line for to make something like this happen in this field. So on your Grimesy, thanks for letting us know as well. Edwin, probably not dissimilar to you when you took the plunge and started your own agency. Like sometimes that shit you have to do it.
Yeah, it is like it's a big step as well, because I think all of us, creative types always kind of think, oh, should I go out on my own? And it is definitely that, especially at first it was like, am I going to have enough money to make, am I going to get enough money this week or this month to pay the bills and to, even to get close to the wage that I was on full time, and it is definitely not an easy thing, and definitely not for everyone as well. So anyone that kind of does it, I applaud, and they have my support. And it is nice to hear nice things from people, and you guys are doing a good job on this show, which I would never tell you again. But
well, we've got it. There it is. That's the show, everyone.
You can leave.
Only
And
took
how
us
much
to
money
get
do
him
you make,
hungover.
Edwin?
how much money do you make?
I'm just
Actually,
kidding.
you know what? I'm fairly like, I like to. No, I'm not going to tell you exactly how much money I make.
No, I'm very much joking.
But I do actually think that like we as like an industry need to talk about the money side of things more, because I think it's still pretty like, we don't really know or talk about it. But I think probably this year I'm now I'm probably earning more than what I was in full time
Oh, nice.
work, which is like not significantly more, but that was always kind of my goal, was to kind of match, what I was getting, because what's the point?
That's really cool.
That's
if you,
unreal, man. Well done.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Does that mean the next reel you're going to be is like, this is how I made $100,000 in agency land?
I always see, there's some of my least favorite Insta posts where it's like, batch create your content using ChatGPT, and you can make 100K in a month and get to 200,000 followers, and it's like, fuck, I hate you people.
But like it would convince so many people though. That's what annoys me, because it would work. It must work to a degree.
Yeah, and I think it's easy for someone to go, I did this and had success, and not really back it up with any kind of proof, or I also think people are quite gullible when they're they see things like that. They're like, oh yep, I want to get that kind of money. Then they sign up for like a course or like a monthly subscription or something, and then probably just plod along and never see any results. And they're like, this person said I'd be making $1 million in a month and have 100,000 followers, but it's not happening. Why not?
Oh dear,
it's unbelievable.
Good time.
Hey, quick one. While we're talking about Ben Grimes and you starting your own thing, Edwin, do you still find it? Because even to this day, when I do freelance stuff, I still find it difficult to put a value on how much like you should ask for money, and I still feel like I undervalue myself.
Oh, it's fucked. I hate it. It's like, it is definitely the worst kind of part of. Oh, well, not the worst, but like one of the worst things, because it's something that I just stress a lot about, because I definitely undervalue what I do, and I'm getting better at it. And like, it's a constant work in progress of, trying to work out what the value you're providing is, and not just the time. That's a big thing that I found, where it's, it's not like 10 hours of my work. It's 10 hours of my work plus the cost and the value that I'm going to save that company or bring in through, whatever their kind of goals are. So I think kind of that's how I weigh it up now. And a big thing that I'm trying to do now is trying to get people to say no, like to say that's, when I'm quoting someone or they're like, how much is that? Is to get to a point where like I'm asking for too much, which I think is like a good sign that you've kind of gone too far in terms of like the budget. But often you can kind of just, you can go a little bit higher than what you think. And, at least in my experience, it tends to work all right. And, because more often than not, we are underselling ourselves, even when we go, oh, this is how much I think it'll cost, in terms of like, time and effort and all of that. But, adding that little bit extra, because I think someone was saying that you should be getting, someone told me, like a guy that I have as a bit of a mentor, that you should be getting like 50% of your clients saying, oh, that's out of our budget. And then you can kind of, bring it back down and, maybe take some things out or strip it back, what you're offering. So, 3 years in, it's gotten easier, but it's still not easy to do. And especially with what I do, where everything's different. It's not like, oh, I'll deliver you 50 photos and that's my, my deliverable. There's all these different variables, and like every client that I have is different as well. So it's like kind of coming up with almost like a custom package every time. And it always takes a lot of time to kind of pull that together, which does my head in still.
It's actually a really interesting point. I don't think I've ever been told like that it's too high, which is probably a reflection of how I've been doing it. But
and that's it. Like even if they're, they're starting, they say, oh, that's getting close to our budget, or even saying that's over our budget, then you can kind of go, well, that's the kind of the baseline of where you want to aim for. And I think we do offer a lot of value in our services, so you don't want to be underselling yourself. But the biggest thing for me is I'd hate for someone to think that like I was charging too much and then not delivering them something. So I'm always just worried about that as like that demon of the self-doubt, the imposter syndrome type thing, where you're going, oh yeah, I'll charge a bit less because I don't want to know, or they'll question it. Like it's yeah.
I think that's such a good point. Like it brings it back down to the whole industry as a whole needing to talk about how much creators get paid. Like,
what are you on, Jules?
Sorry?
What are you on?
No, not enough. But to be told, like why do you want to know what everyone's getting paid? Are you going for a pay rise yet?
No, I take the piss, but I think it's just a very funny, like a good point that we don't really talk about.
It's like asking someone their weight. Like you just don't do it.
What is yours?
My weight. I'm 56.
I've weighed myself for a while.
56.
See, Edwin, he said this in. I know this is my reaction. This is what he said when we're in Queensland in the harbour, and I sort of looked at him. I'm like, "What the fuck is wrong?" And then I looked at him. I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
I'm a pretty small guy. Like I'm not.
And you're very chiseled.
I'm not chiseled.
Yeah.
I've got low bone. I got light bones. But anyway,
I thought you were saying 50 was your salary.
Oh no. Jesus, if 50 was my salary, I'd be really. I wouldn't be doing podcasts on a Sunday morning.
That's good, right?
Once, when I started, like, just to wrap this up, I actually, when I started the industry, I broke down all the hours that I was working against my salary, and I worked out that I was earning about like $8 an hour or something by the time and this was a while ago, so it has gone up to $8.50 since then. But like, you do consider it like amount of time that you have to put into work. Like you said, Edwin, it's not a carbon copy industry. Like you just have to like do stuff so bespoke a lot of the time, and things take time. Like we just got back from a pre-season camp, and we spent the whole 2 days there just capturing content, not to the point where we even haven't finished producing it all. But now like it's to go through and sift through that. That's a couple of hours to edit all the photos, edit all the videos. That's another couple of hours to put it together. Like it's just your time is the most valuable asset. And if you're charging too little, you're doing yourself a disservice, because like, what else are you going to do? Like,
and I think I think you guys actually said this, which I really liked, around, and again, I don't want to like ever compliment you guys, but I will
too.
But the chat you guys had, I think it was last ep, around like creatives, and even just the time it takes to like come up with like ideas and like and content, and I think you use like the accountant analogy, and like they take time to like pull together their numbers and like spreadsheets and whatever shit they do, and it's like, just because it takes time to like come up with an idea or a creative concept, and workshopping and like even factoring that into like what you do, I think is important, because it's that's the stuff that we're paid for, and it might take a couple of hours of like thinking about it and going for walks and brainstorming and whatever it is. So I think that's another kind of interesting point.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like you're always working, like even if you're not, to make something better for someone. So charge more more and pay us more.
And the final thing on that as well is also like, I try and actually now not charge by the hour, because I find it's restrictive to what you do. So I'd rather charge by, deliverables. So I'll give you like X amount of content, or like I'll work with you and have, provide you these examples, and it kind of gives you a bit more flexibility with what you do, because I find when you charge by the hour, especially for like things that I do, especially around say like the actual like posting and scheduling of content, like I can do that really quickly, but then I'm kind of doing myself a disservice, because of like I've learned how to do those things and write captions and schedule content like quite fast, where it might take someone longer to do it. So I'm kind of like underselling myself just because I've learned, over the years how to make that process quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that actually. I don't know if it's just me, but there's something about jotting down your time as a time ship that feels like not degrading, but like that every second is sort of like, am I worth it, sort of thing.
Yeah,
So, no.
I hate it. But
But
I think charge more is a good lesson.
Charge more and be
clearly,
confident to do it.
Yeah, get no's as well. I like that message to almost aim to get told no, that's too much, and it's clearly working. Seeing as you said that off at the start of the show that you're making bank, Edwin, so that's probably going to be a clickbait title. I think.
I heard he's
Jules,
in the
if you're happy with
millions.
that.
Yeah, $1 million man.
Yeah.
It's not quite millions.
More billions.
More in the bees.
There's a part of Edwin I can see that he wants to tell us how much, and I really appreciate that. I'm not going to let you know. All right, listeners. So it's gonna be the usual format of the show. We're gonna have 3 talking points. Edwin, kick us off. What have you got for us this week?
Excuse me. Me?
Yeah, you got something?
The arrogance of Barks putting that in the run sheet as well.
Nah, I'm just kidding. You don't have to. I'll go first then, shall I?
I actually have a number of talking points that I brought today, so I'm quite prepared. So
I can't.
Ooh.
Do you actually?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, well, hit us.
Kick us
Well,
off.
I was serious.
They're more around the boss and the egg. So I've got some nominations, but they're also kind of talking points. So I think they're interesting. But
do you want to wait for the segments then?
Well, look, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if they allocate to the bog and egg, the egg and boss, then we'll wait. All right, I'll go first. So this one isn't actually that exciting or a bit of a boring chat, but I'm going to. So the weather. What's our favorite degrees? Because mine's usually 17, 18, maybe 19.
26. I'm just like not too hot, but it's like
I love 12 degrees and rainy.
Shut the fuck up.
What is wrong with you?
So bit of Hoop City findings last month. So our engagement so when we have to go out with informative graphics on basketball camps, whatever it might be. So in a footy world, it might just be like if you just had open trainings, you had to keep scheduling them, Jules. And the engagement on them is obviously less compared to reels and stuff that actually entertains and engages audience. And I thought it'd be interesting just to talk about how you can make if you have to have, say, a basketball camp, a graphic to advertise that you've got a camp coming up, and it's gonna just be a graphic. It's not gonna just be a video. How do you make it more interesting and to get more? What? Hang on.
I can't believe you're trying to get us to do your homework. This is fucked.
No, this is what we're doing.
I was like, is Mark trying to get like free advice?
Was that obvious?
I think he is.
To help do his job better. Like,
wait.
You're
lucky Edwin doesn't charge by the hour now.
Yeah, I'm going to be invoicing you. I will be invoicing for this hour.
I'll get off the chat then. I'll talk to Jules about it. No, I think it's a good discussion. So if you've got...
you would think it's
all right, fucking talk, Jules. You go on to what you've got this week. I thought it was interesting. It's a real life example.
We'll help you with your homework.
So let's get back into it. So I've got a basketball camp coming up, and I've just got a graphic. I don't have time to make a video because I've got lots of things on my plate. This is a real life example. So how do you make a graphic more engaging?
All right, I have a few thoughts here. The first one is I think people are really used to and like are hyper aware now of things that looks like a post that looks like an ad. So I think the moment people see graphics that has text on them, we go stuff that I'm going to keep scrolling because it's just someone trying to sell me something. And so, even to the point where, and like this is maybe too much of like a spicy take, but like platforms like Canva, I think we should be using less in terms of like, brands and businesses and, those kind of designed flyers and whatever, because people just scroll past and like, oh no, that's just another thing trying to sell me something. So I think the answer to your problem is put the information in the caption and have like nice photos of like, basketball people, hoops, real stuff happening. And then, when people are, more invested in the content because it's like an interesting piece of content, they're going to be more likely to engage with that post. Your reach is going to be higher, then they'll actually go and read the message in your caption, for example. So that would be the way that I would approach it.
So you'd put every single detail in the caption and just have like a carousel of whoever's coming out to the basketball camp.
Or you hide your info like at the end of a carousel.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll be $1,000. Thank you.
Jeez, you are making bad.
It's kind of like that's a good point, Edwin, because it's like, I know you're going to say it is, but marketing funnel, right? Like the stupid thing, but it actually works. Barks, if in the weeks leading up to said basketball camp, you're posting really engaging photos or videos of kids having fun at these camps and learning, and in the captions you're just writing like, oh, info coming soon on our next thing. People start to look out for that as well. Like they'll be like, oh, when's this information coming? Where can I go to get this information? The more you do on an event, and the more engagement you get around, nice shit rather than actual like flyers and stuff, the more people are going to be interested in what the outcome is.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is probably like, who's your audience for this? Like, are they the ones that are already, following the page and will be seeing these posts? And then, potentially that's when you look at something like stories as your main like actual driver to, your website to fill out a form and like sign up for like the basketball camp.
Yeah.
Than, trying to get it on the feed, or maybe have like a combo approach where there's more information in the story because they're more funny people.
It's funny you say that because like when I first started, I'm just like, all right, I don't want any of these informative graphics on the actual feed, and I'd love to do it on a story, and then you sort of just keep it as a highlight on your Instagram page. But then what we found is just obviously because it's not where people are used to going to the highlight to find the information. People just keep asking us questions that we could just have so clearly plastered on that informative graphic that it was actually like easier just to look at that one graphic with all the details.
Well, have you thought about automated messages from your inbox as well that just direct people to the information that they need?
As in like new followers?
So like if someone, you can build out journeys on your Instagram and Facebook where if someone types in, it gets greeted and it's like, hey, you've sent us a message. Is this about a basketball camp? And they can say yes. And then they just get a link that says, all the information you need is here.
Yeah, right.
Well, work smarter, not harder, mate.
No, I mean, it's interesting, and I'd like to just point out that you both laughed at me. This has been a great discussion.
For you. What are we gaining from this?
It's a podcast to help each other, and I think the listeners, aka me, will greatly benefit.
I'm just getting
my salary will go up.
I'm just getting a real insight from you in primary school, like sitting down with your mum and going like, right, mum, we just need to have a discussion about ancient Roman civilization. What was it about?
Thanks for your help.
I did on my pub crawl yesterday. I did have one of the pubs had a basketball hoop, so I did shoot a few hoops. So maybe I'll join the camp and
nice
become a basketball guy.
We don't have camps for like seniors. Like there's just not really something.
Fuck you! You're 30, mate. We're all in the same boat.
Yeah, my back's killing me.
Hey, I do. Just to wrap that one up, Edwin, your point around audience is really good because Bark's like, who actually follows Hoop City, and is your Instagram the best way to get them the information they need about camps and stuff? Like, is it kids that see that and then they're like, oh, I want to go, or are you going like, oh, parents, get your kids into this?
As in, like, am I framing it more towards the athlete or the parent?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's probably not. I've probably found that Facebook with these informative graphics works far better because it's the parents. But yeah, I guess you're right. So you're saying if it's for the Instagram, it might be more like the Instagram audience. It might be more of that. If the details aren't straight on in your face, then maybe it's the athletes finding that a bit more appealing.
Worthwhile thinking about. You don't have to reinvent the wheel with this one, I don't think. Or the hoop.
Well, thanks, guys.
Hey, this is literally a $500 conversation.
This has been fantastic. I mean, I'm not even working on this Sunday.
You're such a shit bloke sometimes.
I think this has been smart for me. But anyway, we can wrap that up there.
All right.
Pay you
My
both
follow-up
off.
question is, so let's say hypothetically there's like an Instagram social media coach has about 2,500 followers on Instagram. How do they convert more clients into paying customers? Because can you just help me out and get me more money for my job now?
No.
Yeah,
I can't.
right.
Ask
I knew I
Barks
was
about
talking to two experts.
ask Barks about data privacy, and then we can really take this to the next level. Another phone
privacy.
call I received from him once.
Did I?
How do I collect data from like under 18-year-olds?
Oh, yeah.
Which is not as sketchy as it sounds, everyone.
This isn't for Hoop City. I'm sorry, that's not funny.
It's from my personal app.
That's why you're not allowed near schools anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, too far. Get off.
All right. Anyway, let's bring this back. I've actually got some content.
That was content.
It wasn't
It was
content.
smart.
Father's Day stuff. Like, first of all, half the world is fucking weird because they have Father's Day, like now. Did everyone know that? Like, Father's Day in America and UK is actually the 19th of June.
What dictates Father's Day being on that date? Like what?
No idea.
Yeah. So no, it's not that weird, I guess.
Anyway, I feel like thanks, Marks. I feel like this every year people struggle with good Father's Day content, and then sometimes you just get handed like an absolute W. So this is from the MLB, and it highlights what the tweet says: the relationship between a batter for the Phillies, Nick Castellanos, and his son Liam. Don't need sound, so I'll just turn that down a little bit. But it's just like a pretty good, wholesome piece of content where they mic up the son and they actually just like interview him during the match, talk about like his dad, what his dad means to him. I mean, he says some pretty like, I don't know, insightful stuff for what looks like an 8-year-old, but
Pretty mature.
yeah. But it's just like, it's pretty nice, like, because it does then show the importance of the bond between like a father and their child without being, here's a graphic that just says Father's Day. Also humanizes the batter, the people on the team, and like gives you a bit of an insight of how they involve their kids in their day to day when often they're on the road or whatever it might be.
Yeah, that's cool. I like it. I think I always think about the people like behind the camera or sort of prompting the kids. In this case, it's probably the mum, but it sort of makes it, because I always found that hard if you were trying to get stuff out of certain kids and they're just not giving you anything, and I'm like, I don't know how to speak to you. You're like 7 years old.
Not good with kids.
Nah, fuck. I genuinely hate children, but I thought this was pretty cool.
Very
So,
American kid, isn't he? Like,
yes. Oh dear God, yes. It's very like, my dad's my inspiration, and he told me never to worry about the past. It's like, what?
My
dad. Sorry.
Let's egg the kid.
Yeah.
God, he's being inspired by his dad. How dare he?
Also, like, my dad never said anything that inspirational to me when I was growing up.
Sounds like a you problem or a Duncan problem.
Don't me problem. I'll just bring your fucking homework to the podcast. That sounds like your you problem.
That was actually in my monthly review. It's Michael. We need to up the engagement on these informative things. So tick that box.
Oh, do you want to walk us through the rest of your monthly review?
It's funny though. No.
Okay.
Oh, you got something else?
I got one more. It's a short one. I've heard of this sport before. I don't know if you've, Edwin. Basketball. Basketball.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Anyway, this guy, Nikola.
Hang on, the guy you were bagging last week that he was dominating the league that shouldn't be.
Nikola Jokic. I think his name is. Anyway, Nike have just put this piece together. Oh, great. Video has no sound. Don't really need the sound anyway. But it's just, again, I fucking hate Nike because sometimes they just put text on the screen and it's good.
Yeah, they could do anything. Yeah.
It just really pisses me off. However, I wanted to get your thoughts on this, Edwin. Is this actually good, or do we just like eat up everything that Nike does?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it is good.
Yep.
I think because it is just like, it is a bit different. And I always like when, it's a bit, while it kind of does go against a lot of like Instagram rules of like, use people and, have like lots of movement and eye-catching things going on, where this is like very simple, but it kind of does make you go stop and watch, which, yeah, I think this is good. I like it.
Mm. For those just listening, sorry, I should have explained. It's just literally a couple of lines of text. It says, so a Serbian guy walks into an arena, wins an MVP, wins another one. He helps lead his team to the playoffs, then the finals, and then just finishes with a picture of Jokic, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
And it says no joke with the Nike logo. Very simple, a little bit of music underneath there. Bucks, what do you think? Good or not good?
No, I like it. I think we go on about it all the time. That simplicity is so often the winner for content, and they've clearly gone with that approach. I do think there is a bit of whatever Nike do, we get her out of that.
Yeah.
If some local club did that, it would be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, this is lazy. Yeah. But it's true. That's probably like staying true to their style as well. Like not overcomplicating things. And if you have that consistency in everything that you do, it's always going to be good.
Yeah.
But
no, I rate it.
Anyway, that's that. Shall we get on to the next segment? I know Edwin's been waiting for it.
Let's throw some eggs at each other. I had eggs this morning. I had eggs yesterday as well. Can you have too many eggs on the weekend?
Yeah, cholesterol.
Oh. Egg of the week. Edwin, I want to kick us off.
Okay, I've got two. The first is, so I keep a close eye on TV, social media, because that was kind of what I did for a long time. Worked in and around like TV shows, and so I'm always interested in how TV shows promote their show, because ultimately the goal, right, is to get people to watch the show at a certain time. But you can't just say watch the show at 7:00 tonight, because that's really boring. So it's always that fine balance to find. But one thing that really annoyed me was looking at have you been paying attention? So I think they're on Monday night, and they had like a call to action in every tweet they were writing about the show. And so it was like just the kind of like one line, like punchline about like a funny moment from the show. And then it was, the same line on every tweet that was watch live and on demand on 10 and 10 play or whatever it was. And it just like, I get the need, and obviously there's that kind of goal of, get people to watch the show. That's ultimately what we want. But, just put some like funny stuff out there and don't include the call to action on every single tweet, because it just takes away from so much of the content. And you just, people know when the show's on as well, I always think. So I just hate having like the sell in everything you do. And it's you can tell it's just like a marketing decision where it's like, we need to make sure people know when the show's on. And so they're going to tune in, but it's like seeing 5 tweets all with the same message isn't going to make me turn it on. So big egg to them, and anyone that still does that as like a social strategy.
To play devil's advocate to that, right?
No.
Do you think? I don't want to. With the rise of TikTok and like how you just get served random clips sometimes. If you're just sitting there scrolling, you get hit with a "Have you been paying attention?" clip. You've never heard of this show before. Maybe you've been living under a rock, and it gets to the edit like, watch this every Monday at 9 p.m. on whatever. Do you think that still has value?
I think you just have to be a bit subtle about it, not like just cram it down people's faces and every time. And I think, yeah, if you have it, say you have a funny clip, and at the end there's like a short little, like end frame that promotes a show, I think that's fine. And especially with the way now that content's kind of served to people, not necessarily at the time that they're watching. And this was a very much like, it's on live now, like turn your TV on and watch this show, when, that's going to be relevant for the hour that
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
on a platform like TikTok, if it's, you see it a few weeks, like a week later, and it's like, hey, that's on live now kind of thing. Like, I think there's better ways of doing it now. And, I always remember back in my kind of TV days, we always looked, and they're still really good, but always used to look at Netflix as like the example of the way to do, promotion in an interesting way. And they very rarely say, hey, this show is on Netflix. They would just give people content and, trust that their content will be good enough so people would share it and would be talking about those shows. And, we know where to find these shows. It's on these TV, networks. We know what time it's on if we're following the account. and just give us content rather than the sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about this logically. Like, if I was scrolling and you see a TV show that you've never heard of before and this really funny clip, as if the end slide or call to action, or even if it's like a lockup down the bottom of the video, as if that wouldn't change me going, like, I just click on their profile, right? Like, you just click on their profile.
Yeah, you're not going to suddenly like, oh, I'm going to go into the TV and turn it on and watch this show right now.
Like, when it's not like we're all idiots and don't know how to click on a profile to see what this snippet is from.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thank you.
I don't know.
I've got a. Oh, you still want to fire on
No,
this?
I'm just thinking people are stupid. So that's my closing comment on
stupid?
that. People are stupid. Thank you.
Look, that is true.
That's not really
my second egg is a quick one. It's just so we have a game called Rugby League, which you guys might have heard of.
Is that weird one where they just run into each other?
Yeah, it's a great game. Yeah, could go with a bit more Rugby League content on this show, just saying. But just a bit of an egg to they have State of Origin, which is again, you might have heard of it, probably the pinnacle of sport in Australia. AFL can only dream of having something like Origin, but they have they've recently launched the women's Origin, and this year they used to just have it as a one-off game, and so usually the men's is like a 3-game series. This year it was a 2-game series, and so it's Queensland won the first game, New South Wales won the second game, but Queensland won on for and against. So the game finished, and New South Wales had won the game, but then Queensland had won the series. So like New South Wales had won, but they were sad, and then Queensland had lost, but they were happy. And like
that's awful.
That's so awkward.
How can that get through? It doesn't make any sense.
It was just I think that probably needed to happen, and then for them to go, okay, maybe we should have had a third game to avoid this situation happening. But
it's just 2-game series are never going to work, though. They just makes no sense.
And it's not even a good try.
No.
See?
Yeah. Good one.
Touchdown. Oh, no.
The only argument I think that they could make is, because often what happens, which is what's happened in the men's Origin, is if it's 2-0, then the third game's like a dead rubber. And so, for like the women's game that's still being established, a dead rubber third game could be a tough sell to get, people to the game and all of that, because, it's only...
Surely they could just call it off at 2-0. Like, surely there's a rule that if it's not needed. No, I'm serious.
No, they can't.
That's ridiculous.
Why?
It's like when
That's ridiculous.
It's like playing 5 tests. Like sometimes 4 of them have gone one way. You still got to play the last one.
Don't bring cricket into this.
Oh, we could
That's
do
the
cricket.
worst sport on this planet.
Ashes.
The Ashes. How good was that? And
That
the women's Ashes going on. Did you see someone from England scored 230 runs yesterday? It's fucked.
Jesus. That's unbelievable.
Seems like a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. Bazball.
That's a lot of tries.
Okay. Right.
Jules, I don't have any eggs.
I've got one. Again, it's from this sport you call basketball, Barks.
I don't know what your hate for basketball is.
It's not just dead. It's a dead sport.
I tend to agree.
Whole sport.
Marcus Smart, but Boston Celtics stan player. Like everyone loves him.
You're going to egg him for getting traded.
Heart and soul of the team. I'm not egging him for being traded, but this is one of those really awkward situations where obviously the social media team is not privy to the information that's happening. So here is a post on, let's say, 3 days ago, right? About Marcus Smart. No one hustles harder than Marcus Smart. He got traded that afternoon.
Yeah.
And there's the thank you, Marcus Smart graphic just a couple of days later. I was just like, this is unreal. Poor, anyone the poor video producer that's probably spent hours upon hours piecing together this bit of content. They've gone, great, postseason. We had a pretty shit final series, whatever. Everyone loves Marcus Smart. He's had a really good year. Here's his highlights package. And then they get the call. They're like, hey, guys, we've just traded Marcus Smart.
Surely there's a bit of accountability for people inside the organization. Somebody surely would have seen that and be like, hey, guys, just maybe, even if you just be really elusive and take it down.
Nah, I think it's I I think because with basketball, do you remember that great Derrick Rose documentary where he was literally like, I don't think he was doing some washing in his house, and his agent called him, and he's like, "Oh, you've just been traded." I think it's just brutal. Like they just do it whenever they like. No one might have known yet.
But I mean, in terms of the actual social media team, surely somebody that knew that Marcus Smart was getting traded that afternoon could just subtly give the top head of digital or whatever it is, just like, "Hey, take that down."
I don't know. It's probably just like lack of communication. Like,
that's what I mean. Just tell them.
It's just so right. It's that simple.
Well, it is.
It's not, because you know that, like, even from your experience in working in sport, like the big dogs don't tell you anything. It gets trickled down and down and down, like, and they don't have any idea what the content plan is.
No, but I'm saying somebody would have scrolled it across social media, surely.
I don't know. Probably not. They're too busy trading it. Anyway, that's my end of the week. Just be fucking better.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's unfortunate.
Anyway.
Bosses!
Bosses! What do you got,
I've got 3.
I have 3 as well.
Oh!
Wow. Well,
I came prepared.
That's it.
I'm going to go... Let's have a bit of boss ping pong. I'm going to go first.
Okay.
I'm going to boss Michael Wilson, best AFL photographer, probably, Edwin, in case you're not across him. What's that?
What's it called? AFL?
It's like a better version of NRL.
It's like rugby. Yeah. Actually, Jules, you can click on that link because I added it. Basically, I'm just bossing this amazing photo, and this is from Trent Cotchin's 300th game, so milestone game. He got chaired off. Wait for Jules to do his thing. He got chaired off with his kids. Just an incredible capture to be in the moment and get that photo. I wanted to boss it because when you're watching it on the broadcast, listeners, I'm sure there's other people that think this. When you see photographers sort of get right in front of these people walking off the field and you're like, just get out of the way. Like, you're literally in their face. And I was thinking this for this exact moment. Then I saw the photo. I'm like, good on him. Like that. Like, I just think that it takes a lot of experience to do that and sort of not care, but the payoff is so worth it because I just think that's an unreal shot.
Is a pretty great shot. But are we sick of Michael Wilson? Like, is there anyone else that takes photos of the AFL? Like, this guy's just everywhere.
I think it's just probably more kudos to him as opposed to anybody else. But yeah, just basically not being afraid to get in the moment and get in the shot is my boss, because it might look funny on broadcast, but it's worth it.
Yeah, fair enough. Good on you, Michael.
That was clearly fun amongst you two. Hey, next.
My first boss is Chris Hemsworth.
Oh.
So he, and I can't edit this rundown that you sent me, so I can't even put the link in there, but I'll tell you about it anyway. He did this video, like a little reel the other day, and it was like this kind of affirmation style video of him talking to the camera and being like, "You're great, you're perfect, you're beautiful and smart," and you know, it was like super cheesy, but obviously everyone was like losing their shit over because it was like Chris Hemsworth. Obviously, he's a pretty good looking dude. But then at the end, he was like, "Oh, by the way, my new movie's on Netflix. Go and watch it," basically. And I thought it was just like such a smart way of, you know, doing the whole, you know, promote your stuff, but save it to the end and, you know, get people in with like some affirmation. There we go. Look at you go. You found it.
Fine shit.
So yeah, it's just like kind of like a daily motivation video. And then at the end, it's like, by the way, Netflix, new movie, go and watch it. So it was just a good example of like doing content in a more modern way. So good one, Chris. If you're listening, I'm sure he's probably a big listener of the Catchup.
Huge listener.
He would. You're right though. It's clever. You play on people's emotions, get them motivated. And you're like, oh, by the way, I've got a movie out.
So, Bucks, this is a great idea if you had to promote your little Hoop City soiree that you've got going on.
Little. Rude. So you want me to get on camera?
Yeah, be like, hey, you guys are great basketballers.
Under 12.
You're nailing all the shots. You're hitting those threes. You're Euro stepping your way to a professional career.
Reading a basketball terminology page or something.
But if you want to be better, Hoop City's here for you.
So this was on your newsletter, wasn't it, Edwin?
Look at you go. It was actually. I'm
And
trying to double up with my content now across multiple places because
Smart.
That's fine. I thought I'd do you a solid and drop it in there, but I did want to say it because so me being a supportive, maybe not friend, just acquaintance.
Enemy.
I thought I'd subscribe to your newsletter, and instead of Edwin sort of saying, "Hey, thanks for getting on my database, my newsletter list," he bags me that I still have a Hotmail email address.
It is ridiculous.
What's wrong with
but
that?
You need to grow up.
Sexy Surfer Boy 69 or whatever you're in.
so what do most people have? Is Gmail acceptable or is it
Yes.
live?
Or
So why not
or anything?
Okay, so can you change it? I asked Edwin this, but he didn't give me any
I'm not
advice.
an email expert, mate.
Well, bloody dive into it.
Oh dear.
Anyway, I'll look into it. I didn't realize it was bad.
Thanks for subscribing. I mean, you're not going to pay me any money, so you're probably a useless subscriber. But
well, that's not very nice way to talk about your fans. Anyway, I'm going to quickly go through my ones. So this one's very self-explanatory, but soccer's a sport. Lionel Messi joined a new team, I believe, and I'm just giving this a boss because the club he joined, Inter Miami, had 1 million Instagram followers, and then as soon as Messi signed, it jumped to 5.1 million followers, which is just outrageous.
8.4 million followers now, which is also cooked.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the Messi effect, right?
I might be friends with Messi. That'd get my personal brand up and going.
I was just thinking that. Get him on the podcast. You could go from
a
couple of thousand listeners to a couple of million listeners, probably.
What do you reckon he'd bring to the table, though?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Wouldn't know much about social media. And
doesn't seem like a guy that spends a lot of time on his own Instagram.
No, isn't he? I don't know if we get in trouble with defamation. He's like in trouble with like tax law or something.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he is.
Doing taxes, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Tell us your content strategy for once you get arrested, Messi. That'd be great.
My final one, if you click on that link, Jules, I just thought this was very funny from the Orlando Magic, another basketball team.
Is ping pong over? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
I like Bucks
Edwin,
to forget about everyone else.
Oh, God.
Okay, I've got one. I actually saw it this morning. It was from this is a sport called AFL, I think it's called. From 7 AFL, I think it was a tweet. But they had a photo of, and I can't remember who it was. It was the cricket player that scored 200 at the SCG, and the Swans also apparently scored a lot of goals. And so they said, teams or people to have scored 200 at the SCG this year, and it was like side by side, like the Swans and the was it
Marnus?
Marnus, yeah, I think it was Marnus. And kind of side by side, I thought that was like just a fun way to kind of play off.
Relevant tweeting.
Yeah, because I think that they've obviously got cricket as well, so a little bit of like promo for like their cricket, but a bit of an embarrassing scoreline, really, wasn't it?
Yeah,
200 points, a few points, a few goals.
Do you see West Coast continually still putting up their quarter time, half time, third time?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's the point where you have to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they even had like, usually when your team gets flogged, you don't say anything. Like, you just put up the graphic, you're like, let's just not say anything. But they
dismantled.
Yeah, they're full time. It's like, I
want to know, like, are you literally sitting there thinking what words will you use for this? Like, that's just not a conversation you need to have. Just post it if you have to post it.
Yeah. So, well, that sucked.
yeah. I don't even know if you have to post it at that stage. Like,
no, that's my first opinion.
But
if you have to post it,
actually want to see that. And they've gone feed, haven't they?
Gone what?
Have they gone on the feed with that as well?
Yeah. Wow, that's cool terminology. Gone feed, bruh.
Yeah. Look at you.
Oh, fuck you both. Anyway,
it's a compliment. Cool
first comment on this is great. It's like, umpires cost us the game.
There actually are a lot of funny things like that. I've got one more, Jules. I don't even know if you've got any bosses, but we're having a great old ping pong match, me and Edwin. My last one is from the Orlando Magic. They're quite funny on Instagram and Twitter. If you click that link, it's NBA draft time. The NBA draft has passed, but each team hypes up their prospects. That I think Orlando had quite a high pick, so they want to sort of put it out to their fans of which player are we going to select and all that jazz. But if you select, so they've put up a carousel of potential draft picks from college and whatnot, and they've got a graphic for each player and then a highlight reel for each player. But then some of the players that they might potentially get, there were no highlights from their high school or college that they played with. So if you keep scrolling, Jules, they get to they get to one of the players, and it's just a screenshot of them DMing the college or high school over Instagram saying, "Hey, do you have any highlights for us?" And they clearly haven't got back to them. So it's just a fun way to post about
That's
it.
very good.
They're good, Orlando.
That is fun.
That is fun.
DM is very funny. There's another one on the DM.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of them.
Yeah, how do you feel about
Good
the
fun.
presented by Brightline Trains, Edwin?
Look, here's what it is. I don't have an Instagram. Like, what's the point?
Yeah. What's the point?
Brightline Trains. What? It's like
It's a random.
it's a random sponsor, isn't it?
Sounds like a train collection.
Yeah, it's
Like
like
the
little
toy
mini
trains.
you can buy.
Yeah.
Oh dear. All right, Edwin, you got one more?
I do. The last one is from another kind of like themed for you guys. From the Melbourne Storm. They're a rugby league team. I might have heard
Oh
of them.
yes, our friends.
How long is this joke gonna go for?
I think it was this week. They posted a team announcement video.
Oh yeah.
And basically it was a bit of like a throwback to it was a throwback to what they used to do in State of Origin on the broadcast, where they would get the players saying their name and their like junior club. And so they did this kind of like retro style video with like the sound effects and like the real like early 2000s style graphics. And I just thought it was like a really cool way of, doing something a little bit differently, which is, every week you say, here's our team, and there's only so many ways you can kind of announce your, who's in the team this week. And I just thought it was really cool, a little bit of a throwback as well for that nostalgia factor. So good one, good one, Storm.
Didn't they go for like 7 minutes?
I think so. And it went for a while.
Yeah, I actually didn't really like this.
Oh.
You don't like content?
I saw it and I didn't really. It's probably because I don't follow it, but I saw one.
Yeah.
I saw two of them. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it did actually, like, I guess the critique is, it went for quite long and like not much else happened apart from just the players like saying the things, but
that's very negative of me.
Well, you're quite a negative person, so.
Well, it's unnecessary.
Did you see the thing that Storm did a couple of weeks ago, where they got one of the players to design the graphics for them?
That was really good.
That was really good as well.
That one was, and they had like the AI component as well.
So it was a player designing it for his teammates' milestone.
Yeah, I think I just
milestone
found
graphic.
it. Let me just show you guys, because it is quite good. Maybe the Storm are coming back onto one of the best in the league.
We talked about him for a fair bit, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
The LeBron. I'll rate this idea.
Yeah, that's really good.
Anyway, shall we fight?
Let's fight.
Some more?
Yeah, I've got two.
Yeah, here we go.
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay. So, anybody still... we've harped on about this, but anybody still posting square videos on social media aren't taking their content seriously.
Correct. Move on.
Yeah.
I know. It should be this black and white.
I haven't even got the energy for this. I've moved to 4.5 just to even stop you guys from giving me shit.
Have you?
On some of the ones I make, yes, I have.
Okay.
And also,
Good for
should we
you.
not just be posting them in 9:16 because reels are the better way to go?
No, wholeheartedly. And part of this was because I still see a lot of teams or pages posting reels, but they're squares.
What?
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
okay.
like so you post a reel
Right,
and
it
it's
goes
just
to
got the
square,
massive
yeah.
black top and bottom.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, well, that was good.
I don't have the energy for that fight anymore. It's
Well,
it's
let
over.
me tell you, Jules, you don't come to this pod with zero energy. You come here ready to work.
I have a bit of an issue actually. So I
Oh.
went on a podcast and I think they just tried to use it to get free advice from me. Like, what would you guys do in that situation?
Content catch
you know what's funny? I find myself in that situation every week.
You know what's stupid is because we say we're talking about our jobs and we're talking about being in the industry, and the minute I seriously want a bit of help, it's been thrown back at me.
Pay for it, mate. Like the rest of us do.
Edwin doesn't need money. He's rolling in it. Has anybody got any controversial calls, or am I going with my another one?
Go with your other one, because I feel like I've got one, but it's brewing.
All right. My bit of a... This is on maybe not simmer. If you're still doing days to go countdown posts until the season starts, then you should quit your job.
Yeah.
I like it.
They're so overdone and so boring that I can't believe teams are still doing it. But I saw one about 50 days or something to go. I'm like, who gives a shit?
50
People
days?
know whether... Yeah, something that was too long.
Who the fuck did that? Also, can I ask, did you do a countdown to your wedding, or did Elise start to do one and you were like, can you fuck off, otherwise we're not getting married?
What do you mean? What, posting 3 days to
Or
go,
was she
2
like,
days.
oh, there's a week to our wedding? You're like, fuck off, Elise.
I'm going to say it's a bit different to a sporting season of Julian, but no, she didn't do that for it.
Can we put in just like the same style birthday post as well in there? Just like, here's a photo of the player. Like, happy birthday to this player. It's like, sick. Great.
We
post.
always talked about this, but we don't really... What was our... Like, we didn't have a result or an outcome, did we?
It's easy engagement, and it's low involvement. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to... We thought of some ideas about like what we could do, but you're just like, oh no, fuck it. Like, just put the graphic in and work on something better.
I feel like you're trying to just fire everyone today, Barks. Like,
yeah,
let's do it. Fire them.
Yeah, there's a theme. Yep. So if you're doing both of those, just you need to find a new career.
Mate,
I don't care if you're new.
Be happy.
Become an accountant.
And then Jules will attack you if you become an accountant.
My controversial call. I don't know if I've had this one for a few weeks ago, and it's on the back of just being at a community camp or a pre-season camp. People need to stop having children. Like, it's done. Like, it's just, they're so fucking annoying, mate. Like,
age group? Like what ages are you talking?
Any.
So like 27-year-olds really tried degrees?
Fuck you. Like, you're still a child.
Oh, Jules, that's...
Okay, I'll also narrow it.
I'm going to argue this one.
I'll
have kids.
Oh, are you trying to tell us something, Bucks? Controversial call exclusive. Bucks is pregnant.
No.
Oh, that's
got enough kids.
The dogs. No, I will narrow this down and say people who bring their children into the workplace, fuck off. Like, don't do it. I don't. It's not a daycare. I don't care about your child being in the office. They're not cute. Don't want to see them. Don't want to hold them. Don't want to hear. Like, fuck off. Go away.
You know what's great about this, Edwin, is it's clearly like targeted at one person that he's experienced during the week. It's very specific.
And shout out to Kathy from finance.
Oh, you know what makes this fuck? There's actually a Kathy in finance, but she doesn't bring her children into work. No, it's not targeted at one person. It's been progressive, like accumulation over the year, over this year in particular, of people bringing their children into the fucking office. I'm just like, no.
I think if they walk through the office, it's fine. If they stay there, for half an hour plus.
There is absolutely no reason. I'll say open training, fine. Like, kids, if there's like a kid-centric event at the office, fine. If you're just like, oh, here's my kid, fuck off.
If it's a sporting club though, that's fine. Think about the accountants. If you had kids going through an accountant's, then yes, I agree with you.
My baby's first spreadsheet. No, I'm just over it, man. Like, and parents who don't know how to parent. Like,
this has gotten to you.
Oh,
you
really?
Tears over this.
It just pisses me off. Anyway, that's my controversial call. It's not even about content. It's about
Really not.
Yeah, you need to just sort yourself out. Edwin, you got any others?
No, I've been trying to think of like a really controversial one, but I don't really have much. Because I would like to fight about something, but
Well, I thought I'd get more from. Oh no, I know Jules stands on the square stuff, but I know you're coming around. But
I'm coming
I'd be
around.
really arced up at mine.
Well, we've done it before. Like, be original. Maybe that's my controversial call. Barks, be original. Stop bringing old discussions to the table. Stop living in the past. Didn't you watch that little American kid that said you can't do anything about the past? You got to focus on the present.
Oh, I did. Well, actually, the countdown one we haven't talked about that too much, have we?
No, but I agree. Like, just lazy content production. Anyway, Bucks, we kept Edwin here for an hour. Let's wrap this up. Come on.
Well, I think it's an honour for Edwin to be here. We shouldn't talk it down. He's got nothing better to do to make some bank.
I think he wants to be on the couch nursing his little hangover.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I will let you go.
I just got a push notification from KFC, so it could be
sponsored.
Sponsored.
All right. No, thank you, Edwin. It's been great seeing your not lovely face, but just seeing your face again. We appreciate you coming on. We did try hard to get somebody else on here, but you're a good last resort. So thank you for your time.
No, thanks for having me. I feel like it was a fun one today. It was a bit of we got a bit personal and I attacked you a few times. Apologies for that.
But, don't apologise. You deserve that one.
We have fun.
That's right. Look forward to seeing my infographics skyrocket this week because there will be none of them. My engagement will be going through the roof. So thanks for your help, you two.
What's the best email to invoice you to again?
Hotmail.
I'll give you
sexy boy producer at hotmail.com.
Sexysurfer92 at hotmail.com should do it. There's a lot of spam in that one though. It's one of those old ones that just get nothing but spam.
Get your casino free spins emails.
Yeah.
For our 30 listeners weekly, if you haven't signed up to Edwin's newsletter, I would recommend to do it. It is a no bullshit, exactly what you need in your inbox with good information, short, sharp captions, a little bit of funny stuff in there as well. It's a good read. I highly recommend it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's for some reason I decided to do it weekly, and so every week I'm like, why did I do this? Like, what a stupid idea having to come up with a bloody newsletter once a week. But yeah, I think head to my website, thesocialsandwich.com.au, and I think it gives you like the little pop-up and it's like, hey, sign up for the newsletter. Or just follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Social sandwich.
And then tune in live from 7 p.m. every Monday to see the Social Sandwich on Have You Been Paying Attention?
Oh, I'd love to be a guest on there, but
you can pull some strings.
Not very funny.
Anyway, everyone, thanks for tuning in. See you later.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.